Hello everyone, we have Evangelos here who maintains GNOME calls, PureOS, Mobian. He's also freelancing for Purism. The topic he'll be talking about is the year of Linux on desktop with mobile.
Yeah, you got that right. First of all, I don't think the audio is working. I just keep on talking and you'll give me the sign if everything's ready. And in the meantime, I'll just dance a little bit or something. Is it fine? Okay, I'll keep talking. So for the benefit of the people who are in this room, but not for the benefit of the people in the stream, yeah, basically we are doing this whole mobile thing. And if you've seen the first talk on Tuesday, I believe, then you might have thought, what the fuck, why is it not, why was this not the talk that I had expected? Yeah, okay. Okay. We can't start. So we'll do it again. Okay. And this is like better rehearsal or something. Yeah, okay, I'll make it work, but I may. I get extra minutes at the end, I guess. Yes. That is very nice, and okay, then I will need help because you need to hold it here while I go in both hands. Then, okay? Try. What can I? What? Okay. Still ready. I was born ready.
Are we good to go?
And by the way, I'm not sure, like that camera, unless there's questions, it doesn't really need to find that way. It's just, well, by this way, now the director can do things. My abilities. $42, $379. No, I need that. I have to connect with people and devices. I think something like this. Okay. I don't need, then take this one. I mean, it will stop working as well, but you have a small time window. Closer to the mouth. You must piece it. Eat it. Yes. You must eat it. Okay. C2, yes. Talk.
Yeah, it's working.
See?
Are we good to go? Yeah. Hello everyone, we have Evangelos here who maintains PureOS, Mobian, GNOME calls. He also freelances for Purism. Today he will be talking about the year of Linux on desktop with mobile.
No, not with mobile. You know this funny little character, it has a certain meaning.
Okay.
The meaning being, have you used the terminal before? I don't know, it's fine, sorry, I don't want to put you on the stage. The year of Linux on mobile. I made a typo and had to delete the last word. Oh, and this is not exactly the kind of phones that I'm talking about, but who knows, maybe I am. So, who am I? I go by a couple of different nicknames. The last one is the best, but I don't use it in these circles. And I've been driving Linux first phones, so phones that are meant to run mainline Linux kernels, as opposed to some vendored kernel, which you usually find on Android devices with all the problems that come with it. I am a Debian maintainer and very, very close to becoming a Debian developer. And yeah, as was already pointed out during the nice introduction, I work with Purism as a free software developer on the Librem 5 phone. I do talk a lot, and the people that I met, or that had the great pleasure of meeting at this conference can probably testify to that. Basically, it's very hard for me to shut the fuck up. And yeah, check out that band. What is the slide? Yeah, okay. Basically, the couple of hashtags that you have at the top is what you can look for if you're doing the social thing. And again, basic idea is we try to have phones that are running pretty much only free software. There are some discussions to be had that, especially when you take things into account like firmware, and there have been some hoops that Purism did have to jump through in an effort to get like a Respect Your Freedom certification from the FSF. For the phone, it never actually materialized, but that's a different story, and I don't know the exact details there. But pretty much, we have all the software already in Debian. I mean, it's like, I don't know, 80,000 binary packages in main. And yeah, we want to reuse all of those components and not rewrite from scratch. So, and generally, I mean, we, or I, and others, love Debian because it's an awesome distribution, an awesome community, and but there are also other distributions, and this is the kind of stuff that we want to be running on. So yeah, I have a couple of devices, but I'll get to that more later. And generally, our work pretty much follows the whole upstream first mentality. And why we want to do this, I probably don't have to tell you. You know the social contract and DFSG, and pretty much we value, for example, the 4 freedoms. Don't look at that security thing too hard. First of all, I'm no expert, and all of security things depend obviously on your threat model and blah, blah, blah. And yeah, and we want to know where our data goes. And at the end of the day, these kind of devices are general purpose computers. We've kind of forgotten that this is the case because we're in this, in these walled gardens of the Apples and Googles of the world, and we are not particularly happy about that usually. And also it's pretty fun. You can have your terminal and do the kind of things that you do in a terminal. So for example, my note taking is usually that I open terminal, type in vim file name, and then I'll just type away. So for example, right here, this is not actually the default keyboard, but you have like tab key and escape right there. And yeah, that makes actually for a very pleasant terminal experience, or Vim even. And okay, going on. I mean, we're at the Debian conference, but I mean, this shirt, how fucking great is it? You could be that guy. Maybe not here, but some alt people watching. Anyway, continuing. How has this become possible that we have some devices that are capable of running, mainline Linux plus all the user space components that we're used to from our servers or laptops or desktops or whatever. Basically, it started 2019 when the Librem 5 and PinePhone became available. I mean, for the Librem 5, I should say ish. As you probably know, there were lots of delays with shipping and so on. So it was very, very nice that the PinePhone, that there were so many devices that Pine could actually sell and deliver at a time when Purism could not, because that created or made it very much possible for this community to come to be. And having like lots of enthusiast developers kind of made this whole thing explode. I mean, it would still take some point. I mean, we're talking 2019, 2020. But yeah, there's also other devices, but the very best supported ones currently, definitely the Librem 5. PinePhone comes in at a second place. There are some, we'll maybe get to that later if any of you will have questions. Maybe some of the devices to watch out for are definitely the OnePlus 6 and 6T, like these Snapdragon 845 based devices. Caleb from PostMarketOS has been doing lots of great work in that regard, and that is to be applauded. This was a cue, by the way. Anyway, you can also run Phosh on, I mean, okay, Phosh is the phone shell. And now you're maybe wondering, well, this is not a phone, but it's basically a desktop environment, and you can run that on whatever. It started out on the phones, and the main developer, Guido, shout out by the way, has been pretty much daily driving it from day one, because if you dog food your own stuff, you will get annoyed by all the bugs, and then you'll fix them rather quickly. And this, oops, I wanted to remove that slide. Oh, and this is also weird. But that was actually an important slide. Okay, so we have reason for celebration. I mean, we at Purism. We have Sadiq also with us in the audience, who's maintaining Chatty, and Purism finally managed to ship out all of the remaining back orders. And you can probably imagine that at Purism, like all the development teams and everyone is super happy that this is finally the case. Also, and you need to look on the website, but the price for the original Librem 5 has been reduced from, I think it was $1,300 or something, to $999, because, you know, it has to be less than 1,000 because of the psychology of sales or something. And when you get to hacker conferences, you might actually be surprised that there are a lot more phones running these sort of this sort of software stack. And I mean, this is all sorts of different phones. There's Librem 5s in there, there's PinePhones, PinePhone Pros, there's, I don't even know, definitely OnePlus 6, and probably a couple of others. And since you probably noticed this nice little recycling symbol, that's like from PostMarketOS. And if you don't know about them already, you should really look into them. They're an awesome bunch. I mean, they made some choices regarding muscle. No, I'll get to that, and it's fine. Okay, regarding other devices, if you check out, and you can probably not see this, but it's not like super important, the PostMarketOS community maintains on their wiki like supported devices. All of this currently are not like officially supported devices, but rather community maintained, meaning that there's maybe sometimes only one person who maintains this, or maybe it's two, but you get the idea. It has some, you get these, all the different columns with, is USB networking working, and is the screen even working? And this is like the matrix that you could look at if you have some phone lying in your drawer somewhere and you want to, I don't know, revive it. You don't want to have it go to the landfill or something, because, yeah, why would you? In terms of, so let's talk a little bit about like kernels and stuff. Yeah, so if you know like roughly the amount of code that gets thrown on top of whatever, so you are a vendor, you sell an Android phone. Typically, and this appears to be slowly changing actually, if you look at things like Fairphone, for example. But typically you would always have the vendor pick some, I don't know, LTS version of Linux, and then they throw a couple of million lines of code on top of that, and boom, you have an Android. This is not at all what's happening like with this sort of devices. Basically on the Librem 5, you can see the numbers, 40K roughly additions, some deletions. For the Snapdragon, it's very similar. The one thing that I should say at that point is you don't have camera support yet. And the other thing, so this is a screenshot of the booting OnePlus 6. And there's this red stuff. So basically it lists here all the different block devices. So you have SDD, SDE, and for example here we have SDA2 until SDA17. And this is a bit weird, and it's not, I mean, this is like system partitions containing firmware and these sort of things, and I don't have any of that on the Librem 5 at least, and also not on the PinePhone. It's basically, you have your eMMC, and there's two, or yeah, probably a boot partition and the root file system, and then you have the SD card, and that's it. So if you LSBLK or something, it will not be like this much output, but rather compact instead. Okay, the other question is, well, what about Android? I mean, Android is Linux, is it? No, it's definitely not Linux. The one thing, but that the argument that you could make for basing, like say this more traditional user space, let's just call it GNU Linux, even though yeah, there's definitely also non-GNU variants. But for argument's sake, just yeah, what you immediately get if you go that route and put some hardware abstraction layers on top that will like manage the translations between stuff like syscalls and how since there's different C library implementations, yeah, you need to have some some translation layer if you want to actually talk to the hardware in this way with Android as your base, as opposed to like real Linux. And yeah, what speaks against that is for me pretty obvious. You don't. It will only work as long as Android is supported for your device, and kind of similar, but not exactly a similar argument may potentially be made for the Librem 5, not in terms of the kernel, but maybe in terms of the firmware. There is obviously firmware in that phone. There's no way around that. You have it definitely on your modem, and also in some other parts, but some of, we can maybe get to that later. The other thing is all the binary blobs that you have that make like the base Android system what it is, they just don't like magically go away. And do we really want to rely on Google when dealing with this? I don't think so. Shout out to our sponsors, by the way. Okay, so this is what I've been also talking about. We can skip that. This is basically like the two projects that make up this hardware abstraction layer. And okay, so now maybe let's move one level up, away from the kernel, and more into user space. Basically, we have a couple of different desktop environments, and I say desktop environments very consciously. First of all, what basically, at least, was the thing that, or the environment that was developed for the Librem 5 and which got later picked up by other devices, by other distributions, and also runs very well on a lot of other devices. There has been, I think this was maybe last year, this effort by Verdre is his nickname, from one of the GNOME people who work on stuff like Mutter and the GNOME shell and other things as well, I'm really sure. Shout out as well. They've started looking at like shrinking the actual GNOME shell down a little bit to make it work on these phones. And it looks like super nice. They have pretty animations. I've only seen it, when was it? I think 2 months or so ago. Obviously, I did not just take the phone and try calling and like all the things, but it looks great at a first glance. There probably are, I mean, it's not like merged upstream yet, so there's definitely like rough edges, but that is definitely something that is being worked on. If you're more into the KDE side of things, there's also Plasma Mobile. This one is also packaged in Debian. I don't know, there was some RC bug, so it may not be available in testing anymore. I'm not quite sure. I think Lomiri, what's used on Ubuntu Touch, is also available. Yeah, it got uploaded at some point. I'm not exactly sure. I've never tried it on this phone, but when I got my original Pine phone, I certainly tried like all the different options. And at the time, for me, Mobian was the one that worked best. And this is actually how I personally got into Debian as well, because at the time I was running Gentoo because I liked lots of compilation flowing by because it made me feel like some lead hacker. I guess you know the feeling. And there's also this thing called SXMO. This is by the Suckless people. So if you're used to running Sway on your laptops, and when I had a peek at other people's laptops, there were quite a number of them, and you may be delighted to hear that it is actually possible to run Sway on your phone. And this is pretty amazing, actually. You might be thinking now, well, it's keyboard driven, yeah, but it can be made to work reasonably well, I would say, like touch-based devices. Basically, you'd have some extra bits here and there, and a lot of different shell scripts that pipe some things from the menu into some other application or shell script, and to make stuff like phone calls work. Right now I'm going to talk a little bit about Phosh itself. You already see it live in action. Basically this video will loop and I'm doing stuff on it. So what is Phosh? Phosh, as you can see like in the title, the title of the slide is the phone shell. The phone shell, I might say. And the basic idea is you have all these components already from GNOME, but you're lacking, or were definitely lacking, a shell to go with that at the time. So what do you need? You need it to be like touch input driven, because this is how you interact with these sort of devices. And it is like a pretty modern stack, I would say. The shell itself, there's actually two components, and I'm not exactly sure what the next slide will be. But basically you have the phone shell, Phosh, And then there's the phone compositor, FOC. They are both, like, this is all Wayland. Since we're living in 2023, we should not, like, start, when you write a new project, you should not, like, rely on or build upon X, because, yeah. So, Wayland is the thing. We use, on the compositor side, WL roots, so the same library that is being used by Sway. And so we share some common load. The actual shell itself is written in GTK. Currently, it's still in GTK 3. And you might think, okay, GTK4 is the future, and I'm thinking, yeah, it's definitely the future, but in some areas on the phones, it's definitely, there are some edges and that are maybe, I wouldn't even say detrimental to the user experience, but there's some rough edges, let's just say that. And again, basically what it does, if you start the whole thing, it will, there's some music playing here, but you can't hear it, so that's fine. You have all of these different GNOME components. Or first of all, applications. Like if we're going top down, as a user, you are interested in different applications, and okay, GNOME provides like a lot of the groundwork, I would say. So you have contacts, you have the settings application, you can set up your Nextcloud synchronization, for instance, and lots of other different things. And basically, when you log in to Fosh, it will start a GNOME session. So you have things like GNOME settings daemon and so on running in the background. And yeah, this is, you've seen like the lock screen in Fosh itself. It has some nice bells and whistles. Like the whole ticket thing is like super convenient when you're in a train and the train conductor comes by and so on. The actual, like the whole stack, I mean, obviously there's parts missing, but roughly it looks like this. So at the very bottom, you have the Linux kernel, your preferred init system, and so on and so on. You'll see all this. I don't have to talk very much about all of the blue things. Again, FOC, the Wayland shell. No, the FOC, the compositor, the shell. Squeakboard is the on-screen keyboard. That is the default on-screen keyboard. And then there's also feedback D. Feedback D takes care of things like when you get a call that you would have. So basically, applications like calls and chatty use feedback D to trigger some feedback or some events, as it is called. So I have, for example, I'm triggering phone incoming call, and that will do whatever is set up for this device. I mean, different devices may have different capabilities. Maybe you have a, I don't know, dual vibration motor, or you have fancy RGB LEDs, and feedback D is like device agnostic in a certain sense. In that sense that you provided there's this other repository called feedback D device themes, and you can send your like device specification, some JSON thing. This right here, oh shit, I need a charger. This is embarrassing. And this is not working. Okay. Okay, I got this. I got this. So I'm gonna use the laptop to charge this before things go to Good thing I brought my cable with me. So, yeah, in terms of daily drivability, because this is like a question that comes up pretty much all the time. When you like talk with people, like with enthusiasts who say, yeah, I'm like really interested in this, but is it ready? And this obviously will depend on your, it's not charging, on your use case. I may end up having to resort to switch to the laptop. But yeah, something happened. Okay, right. So, what is this? No. Let me do my thing. So the basic essentials are all there. You have phone calls, SMS, MMS, internet browsing, and so on. When you, for example, get to a nice place like India, you would get a SIM card. It may take some time because a guy wants to take like 50 photos of your face. Then instant messaging is also something you're probably interested in, like the basics. They are like primarily interesting, or which primarily free software people are using, like XMPP and Matrix. There's different applications that all kind of work really well. Signal, there is like this thing you can find it Flare on FlatHub. Telegram is also available, but you'd kind of have to live with the fact that you're using basically the desktop application. So on the phone you would just like apt install Telegram desktop and it works, but you don't get end-to-end encryption. And yeah, WhatsApp, I don't have to say anything. Okay, battery life. Yeah, right. Let me just, okay, it's 21% currently. Let's see. Oh, I should maybe turn off the modem. That will save a little something. Oh, this will make the demo. Okay, let's try the demo first because I'm running out of time. Some graph, apt install, battery stats, blah blah blah. Camera, right. So this is kind of a good place to maybe do this. Maps and GNSS and so on also definitely work. For example, this was on a trip we took with the bus. The fix got there really quick if you use a GPS to upload the, what's it called, ephemeris and almanac to the sensor module, because at least on the Librem 5 we're using a separate module and not the modem itself. The antenna for the modem is actually like disconnected, and this is not Foch, and this is actually Android, but so Ravi, and you can see like he's been pretty busy. Okay, I should say this is like his street, street complete from Android, where you can let's say you're walking down the street and it will help you like in a very user-friendly way to add some data to the OpenStreetMap corpus. So it would, for example, at a bus stop ask you, is there a shelter here? Is there a bench? Are there any lights? Stuff like that. And he's been mapping, I mean, just look at this. Last 7 days, ranked #1 in the whole of India. This needs, this is some dedication right there. Thank you, Ravi, for doing this. And it would be awesome if someone could look into packaging this for Debian, Street Complete. I don't know what and how it works, but this would be pretty fun. There's obviously lots of different other things that you can do. Obviously you have music players, video players. For social media you can use, it used to be called Tootle, it got forked, and it's now Tuba. I'm not exactly sure if it's made it to the archive yet. But yeah, if you apt install Confi and you can view like conference schedules on your phone, it's very nice, and I maintain it and send patches because I'm a good citizen, netizen. Two-factor authentication, podcast, blah blah blah. You can read all of this in due time. And how are we for time? Yeah. Okay. SIP is maybe one thing that I kind of should talk a little bit about. Oh no, actually I should do the demo if I want to. I can also use the webcam from this, it's fine. But now it will be hard to go back. Let's see, I can do this. I'm a smart cookie. Yeah, okay. And sorry for the chaos, but this shit is what I thrive in. Yeah, there's obviously there are definitely bits that are not working, or that could be working. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. One of the things that definitely do work, and I'm starting from the bottom this time, is sharing like network over USB, and I like to do it, or I do it pretty often when I have this laptop here, and I always have my USB-C to C cable with me or very close by, so that I can take some pictures, plug stuff in rsync from the phone to my laptop, and then do whatever I feel like. Because, you know, it's a little bit, I mean, I love the phone, obviously. It's like the first phone that I am comfortable using. But yeah, again, online banking, you may have some luck with stuff like Waydroid. Waydroid is like, you could call it something like the wine for Android device or Android applications. And I kind of doubt that online banking applications would work through that, but that's why you should like tell your bank if there's no other options, or switch the bank. The other thing is like I have this chip ton generator, like hardware. I put my bank card in, and then it will do things. Yeah, you can have like this. One of the basic ideas behind Fosh was to, or behind the phone, I should rather say, is to have it be able to be a convergent device, meaning you plug in some next dock, for example, and it's fine. And you can also, and I'm gonna hope that I don't break any cables. I'm basically running this presentation on the phone, and this is why I'm worried about the battery. But 19% were perfect-ish. Time-wise, I'm not exactly sure. Okay. So, now demo time. Need to do some small setup. So what I'm doing now is I'm opening the camera applications, and it's obviously right now only showing on, or not obviously, maybe to you, but to me. But it's showing the camera application, and I now have to like move it over to that screen. And then what I'm doing is I'm starting like a virtual mouse, and this will, okay, it's still full screen, then I need to just stop this. And now I'm dragging, oh, not this, where is it gone? Right, okay, this will work. I don't know if the camera actually like picks up what I'm doing, but I need to see where's the mouse. Can anyone, there it is. Oh, come on. This is super hard. Okay, if I move it slightly more, then I'll be able to. This is interesting. Okay. Focus is, yeah, -10. I don't, like at the very top you can see like values for the exposure and so on, and I will need to, it will be, yeah, so it's like not super comfortable doing exactly like this, but I should be able to manage. Am I on the button? Am I on the button? I need confirmation. You're not listening, that's great. Seriously, am I on the button?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So you saw how the numbers at the top have changed. And so this is now my other device. Can this, I think the lights are probably not that great.
They're not going to change.
Well, if I turn it maybe just the right way, I'll make it work. Okay, I'm gonna try this quick thing, and maybe it kind of works, but so I'll just do one application, and which is the tour. So okay, here I have lots of different things. The basic navigation is like, okay, you have all these different swipey gestures. This is the conference schedule viewer that I was talking about. You can like go and press DebConf 23, and it will show the awesome video logo that Abraham has made for us. And it fucking sucks that he is not with us anymore. Okay. And there's other applications as well. So you have Fosh mobile settings, which basically contains all of the different things that are not that are very phone specific and that cannot go as it is into GNOME Control Center itself. Also, I think I have more than 10 minutes actually. Okay, and you can have like device specific things, and for example, there's like features like the. Okay, right, perfect. Not quite, but yeah. So this was the phone, obviously running out of juice. I should maybe have charged it, I guess. I'm not exactly sure which. I put it in the charger at some point, but I'm fairly sure that it was not completely done. And yeah, nice Debian swirl, of course. And then we can just continue with from the laptop. So this one is going to sleep, and yeah. So where were we? We were at demo time, and it's 12:16, and I think yeah. So there's also other distributions, or the for me the most interesting ones are definitely like Mobian and PureOS. They're both Debian based, and there's also, as I mentioned earlier, PostmarketOS. Lots of different other things, other distros as well. And so PureOS is what's shipped by default on the devices that Purism sells. So that may be the phones, or the laptops, or the newly announced Librem 11 tablets. And tablets is something that I was approached quite a number of times actually. Because yeah, it's kind of keep it down, please. Yeah, so PureOS currently is, I mean, it was based on Debian Bullseye. The current release is called Byzantium, and what we usually do is so at least for our own, so where we are upstream, so Bosch, Fock, Squeakboard, Chatty, and others, we upload it first to Debian, then backport the packaging, make any necessary adjustments because we're running older glib, for example, and GTK and whatever. But it's pretty polished. And when it comes to like the archive software, we're using Laniakia, which is mainly developed by Martin Klump. Matthias Klump. Mac is his nickname. You probably know him since he's a fellow Debian developer. And this is like roughly what you get. The basic idea behind Laniakia is that you would have like this integrated solution with, so it's not like using Duck, it's also not using Brittany, but it's using Spears. You may, find that funny. I certainly did. And yeah, basically you have like all these nice web interfaces. This is like primarily for developers because you can see like, okay, what are the migrations, and it also synchronizes from Debian. So for all of the packages that are not modified in PureOS, you want like all of the security backports to happen automatically and not like have to like upload them manually, because that would be a lot of busy work. And the basic idea is you want to have a good archive management software that is usable for a small team. And PureOS is like pretty small team. When it comes to Mobian itself, I always call it pretty much Debian, because the package delta is very, very small. It's maybe 30 packages or something like that. And a couple of them are device specific, so you wouldn't have them installed on your device. There's a couple of like patched packages that you kind of need. And this is like an article very recently published in a Dutch Linux magazine, and this is like awesome actually. So when it comes to developing, I don't know, I'm gonna skip most of this because you're probably the people here are more interested in packaging. You can run Nested in other environments. And if you're more interested, this is like the page to look. If you drop like the last part of the URL, just fosh.mobi, this is like the project homepage. I think I have it later on. A couple of things that are still missing. Definitely like runtime management of background applications. So usually, or what happens now, if I open multiple applications, I will always have they will always keep their main loop running. They will not like render to the screen because that would be stupid. Or maybe they do, I don't know, I'm not an expert. Yeah, other things that are missing. Maybe one that's important, like at least if it comes to, so you already have kind of a, I know, oh, sorry, a big, or relatively big like application ecosystem. If you look at things like FlatHub, there's tons of them. And if you want to get involved, package your favorite mobile-friendly application. Again, you can test out in the nested session, or you can just resize the window to see how well it would work on a phone. Help mainlining devices, yeah, if you're a kernel developer, sure. Writing applications, buy and support companies that like actually care about this shit. And this is basically the end. So this is how you can contact me, and so on and so forth. Are there any questions yet?
All right. Do you have any questions yet?
Just raise your hand so that you can get the microphone, and this will be on stream as well. And these are, yeah.
Yeah, hey Evangelos. Really good talk. Yeah. So I want to know about the app store in, at least in Forge, or like what are the apps? So is this similar to the way that's in the desktop, or is there like a specific tag that these applications are good for phones, or like how's the app store?
The app stores right now, it depends on basically it's GNOME software, and you get all the things that are in GNOME software, and you get like some of the slowness when you first have to like download the catalogs, and it has to think about what all the things, all the applications that it knows about are, but that's pretty much it. When it comes to like the monetization thing that I had on one of the slides, there has been some work, I think both by FlatHub itself and by PureOS, and there's like definitely some overlap, like in this to look at a store kind of experience, because like end users, it's debatable maybe, but should not apt install or have to apt install at least. I mean, I will always apt install, and I will always like prefer Debian packaging over something more random. These are, again, some of the recommended talks if you want to know more about this. If you look for the titles, you will definitely find something. Other questions? And these are some of the links. There's a question. The last link has a couple of applications.
So you talked about the energy saving, which doesn't exist, so you need to suspend it.
No, suspend is there. It's that the applications are running in the background. They keep running in the background, and they're not stopped at all. They can do whatever they like.
Okay, that was my question, because it sounded like you needed to get them away, and I wondered about receiving phone calls, because if it's not there, we can listen to incoming phone calls.
Can you repeat it? Put the mic, please, a bit.
That was the question I had, because if it gets stopped, you don't receive the incoming phone calls. But if you say
Closer to the mic, please.
this was wondering, because
Okay, maybe I can already answer your question.
I wondered about the incoming phone calls
Yes.
or SMS, because
It works.
Okay,
I mean,
because you need to be in standby to do that. So.
well, yeah, definitely. And I mean, suspend is pretty much how we went from maybe, I don't know, between 6 and say 10 hours of battery, like how far it would carry you through the day, to a whole day in like the best case, depending obviously on usage. And yeah, if you don't charge your phone, yeah, things happen. I'm just gonna, please raise your hand if you have any more questions. I'll just quickly check the interwebs if I find it. Here it is. Yes, ticket box is very, very nice. You need to enable that in the Fosh mobile settings.
Well,
Yeah, very close to the mic.
I would
Please.
like to ask about phones or the mobile devices that have a keyboard attached. Are they even in scope of your project?
Sorry, is what exactly scope?
Are they in scope of a project?
Yeah, I got that bit, but I didn't. What is the subject of the sentence?
Yeah, I mean, if I have a phone that has a physical keyboard, like a PiPhone with the keyboard attachment, or something like uConsole or the like, should I start with the work you just presented, or with some desktop environment and get from that side? Because, for example, the current state of Fosh is pretty much useless in portrait, right?
Did you say
in landscape mode.
Yeah, I know that there's issues, and you can look at them, and I mean, patches are obviously always welcome, and I'm not saying this to like offload the work, but I mean, that's also like how free software works. For example, I'm very much amazed that, I mean, Fosh and like these things that originally were created for the Librem 5 and so on, they have quite a number of contributors, translations obviously, but a lot of others as well. And just very, very recently, a couple of very nice people from Pear Tree, which is an Indian company who's like interested in this sort of thing, and has like money to spend on the actual developers, so that they can like eat. I like to eat, and yeah, so. I don't exactly know if this answers your question, but maybe we can also definitely talk about this some more later.
Yeah. I was asking mostly about focus, because
about what focus? So focus, yeah, focus is not on landscape, I would say. Maybe it changes now that we have the tablet. That
will make things more interesting.
Yeah, because you can turn any kind of software into anything else, but would you at this moment recommend trying to fix Fosh or not at this time?
It will. It's definitely like on the radar. Pretty much, if you go to the repository, there are definitely already issues for this. Obviously, this needs design input, and this needs implementation, and like someone needs to do the actual work. I'm not exactly sure if, focus maybe at this exact moment in time, not super much, because we're like primarily using, or very often using our phones like this, but so when I don't know, take some pictures or something, I usually, so for example, the camera application is like, you can't, if you actually go to landscape mode, it will not work very well, but you can have it here, and then you do this, or this is what I've been doing, and this was comfortable. But yeah, I see that there is definitely, it's not primarily on, the focus from the very beginning was definitely on portrait and not on landscape. It's still there, and it definitely like works on things like a laptop. I mean, my laptop itself is running Fosh. The phone is running Fosh. On my desktops, I'm not using Fosh. I'm using Sway, because real hackers like keyboard-driven things. Are there any more questions?
I can take a question. Evangelos.
Sorry, what?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes?
So, can you show that slide regarding application development in Fosh? So, how do you invite developers to make applications for Fosh similar to other ecosystems like Android and Apple?
Yeah, right. Yeah, pretty much. So I'm assuming that you're running Debian because you're here. Basically, you would, for example, okay, in the upstream development, we also carry like a packaging. It's then the 3.0 native and not like Quilt format, obviously. But you could just clone the repositories, whichever one it is that you're interested in, and then if you're lacking dependencies, because it's like always something that you need to do first before you can configure the project, you would just apt build deb, and you get everything installed, and you're pretty much ready to go. You can, I mean, basically I do all my development on the laptop. I can maybe show you my Emacs. Need to close this. I closed it, root. Oh, is this good enough? Okay. So let's see. Let's say I want to either fix or introduce a bug somewhere. I mean, it could be either. I just, I have like, this is code. Blah blah blah. You have lots of things, and you can also read this. Should I? Let me. Oh, top is not there. Then make it a little bit bigger. Let's do maybe this, and okay, I'm not going to pull because it makes no sense right now. So let's assume I've just like cloned, and I will now, so this is again like upstream stuff now. I would do something like this. There's other ways to do it, but like for some reason I pretty much do this, and so then I compile this. It does some things. I'm doing this on the laptop currently. I mean, I could do that on the phone, but and that works. I mean, I cannot even like run I have actually Doom Emacs or some Emacs installed on the phone. I mean, it does not make super much sense, but you know me. Okay, then this is better. Right, so it does its thing, should be ready in about a second, and I can build packages from this if I don't know, whatever is your favorite building tool. Is that even visible, like if it's down there? Maybe, I don't know, I can scroll this up a little, or I'll make, so yeah, whatever, you can build packages, you can use QEMU or something to cross-compile and then SSH into your phone or copy it or whatever. In the best case, you could have, for example, a remote set up for your phone. So you see, for example, here I have L5 USB as a remote, and I can basically just git push to that if I have the phone connected to the laptop, and you could even have like a post commit, post receive hook set up on the phone that as soon as you push something, it will just compile, and you can have like C cache obviously here as well, and then it will like be fast and not waste too much time. Yeah, I think if there aren't any, maybe one last question, or let me. Does not appear to be the case. Talkmeister. I mean, you should talk.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, last question. Last call. Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah, so if someone wants to build apps on Forge, for example, so
Build
there's,
apps, yeah.
there's the same fragmentation of GTK, Qt. So
Yeah,
the
but
similar
it's
problems. So, same, like if you look at Android, for example, like the app updates are fast.
Sorry, I have to interrupt you because I don't look at Android. I've never run an Android phone. I have no idea about these 10 gigabytes of SDKs that you need to download, and you need potentially some weird account somewhere, and I don't do Google. And
Yeah, so
Google
like
does not get
bank applications, for example.
banned applications.
Bank applications, for example.
Bank.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah, okay.
So I guess the
There is something, and it may get packaged in Debian. Other distributions, I don't know. It's probably on FlatUp. It's called banking because you know.
Okay, so it will. I guess it will just carry down the problems, or I guess some things
No,
from the desktop as well.
okay. I should maybe clarify. This is an application that at least works in the European Union with some banks because it uses things like the FinTS standard, and I don't exactly know like what they are doing in this whole banking world because I don't give a shit about money. I mean, I want to survive and everything and eat again, but that's about it. Money is like a stone that is in your pocket, and you should throw that shit. No, this is like a stone in your shoe. A coin in your pocket is like a stone in your shoe, and like it's annoying, you know. Get rid of it. Closer to the time. Is it okay? Yeah. You're having fun, or I'm having fun. I don't know about you. So, just talk, and or I come to you. We can. This is a bit weird.
So, yeah. Speaking with the comparing this Fox ecosystem with the Androids, I think Fox ecosystem is much more better compared to Android. I think because like we have a lot of languages, but in Android we have like only Java, Kotlin, and now we have Flutter. This and we have this, as Evangelos said, we have SDKs. It consists of gigabytes, so we have to download. Then Android Studio just like you're locked on with Android Studio things. So it's pretty much like you can say Java help. But in Forge, when you come to it, it's much more like a breath of fresh air. You have a lot of languages, and things are very easy to get started in. So like if you're like, I'm comfortable with Python, so I can just do a Python package, and if it doesn't go, you can do it and go. So So, and we also have flat packs, so if you like or hate flat packs, and there's also snaps, so this makes the things a bit comfortable compared to Android. So once you get started, it might be easy. But I have tried both Android and GTK, Android and GTK, and I can say GTK things, they are very, very nice to get started with and also develop. But the only thing is documentation, but it's improved, being improved right now. What?
Yeah, definitely it's a fresh air. It's nice of you to say that. I think so too. But I'm pretty sure that we're kind of out of time. I mean, I can jump around for a bit more, but I don't know. Like, yes, I think we should like. We can continue later. And one last word from my side. There will be a lightning talk by me today later. I don't exactly know what I'm going to do. Lightning! Lightning! This is for all the King Gizzard fans out there.
Yeah. Thanks, Evangelos, for the talk. And we can wind up and go for the lunch maybe.
Yes, it was intense.